Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Chang. I'm a film critic for the Los Angeles Times. Thank you for sticking around. We have a treat for you. Very pleased to be joined by someone who I think is one of the world's great filmmakers and also by one of the best and most interesting actors working today. Please join me in welcoming the director, Denis, and the actor, Robert Pattinson. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to start by just asking, I've read that you've said that this movie is not science fiction to you. Is that true, or is it, can you explain that?
Now that the question is repeated many times, asked me many times, I realize it became like a sort of motto, but I think it's not. What I wanted to say is I didn't want people to expect too much of what it is, science fiction in many films today with a lot of incredible special digital effect. And I thought it was a film about few people with no alien, no fight, and in space, that's all. I didn't want to say, no, this is not. I wanted to, not for people, because when we first screened it in Toronto, Robert was there. Wow, the first night I was, because I'm sure some people were expecting so much more, from fights and stars and star. We have one.
I was there, and I wasn't disappointed at all. So, but I know that this idea for this movie came to you. You'd been working on it for some time. I'm sure there were many reasons, but why did it take so long to come together?
First of all, the proposal was made to me by an English producer to do a film in English, and it took me a little time to accept, because I wanted to do it in English for a reason I could understand. For instance, being in space, meaning to me speaking American or Russian, So, and this producer, Oliver Dungy, also mentioned, "Oh, Claire, I would like you so much to do a film about a femme fatale." And it's far from me, this sort of thing. So I thought, well, in space, a femme fatale could be a little Willow in a way, And it started like that, but then it took, it was a slow departure, and then in French, and then written in French, and we had to translate it, and then a casting, but then the budget was there 6 months, and then suddenly it was not there anymore. And it's, as you have seen the credits, it's so many co-producers, So it took so long time, And I have to say, Robert was very patient with us.
Robert, I don't expect you to remember this at all, but we did a really quick interview before you were about to go shoot High Life in Poland, and you were telling me about just the joy of
Germany. What? You were not in Poland?
No, in Cologne, yeah.
In Cologne.
I wasn't in the Poland.
Oh, sorry. I may be misremembering.
Yeah, no.
But you were talking about just we were talking about just all the great directors you've worked with, and Claire being one of them, and just and your love for working your way through your DVD shelf. And was she? I take it she was on that shelf already. Yeah, and you were familiar with her work.
She was a late arrival. I mean, I only really discovered Claire's work when I was about 25, I think. But yeah, it was an immediate. I think I was 24 or 25, and then she was an immediate priority target. Hunted.
Was okay for me, you know. Yeah.
What was it like meeting for the first time and deciding that Robert was Monty?
I have a great memory of the first time we met in LA in a hotel, and it was I remember you were wearing a sort of white T-shirt. I mean, you were whitish. I mean, pale, and I was also very tired from the flight, and I thought it's the energy to meeting someone was not really in me, and I thought it was a little bit also at a distance, but maybe because of that it was easy for me to realize that it was of course him, nobody else, and everything I had said before to the casting director was foolish. No, I wanted someone this and that, and you know, it doesn't matter what you say to a casting director. There were some people I really were afraid of, but for other people, you always have to good reason. Yes, I want someone like this and like that because it's important for the film that the person is hopeless or whatever. And with Robert, I met someone exactly the opposite, younger and not hopeless, but who had no life almost. That's no.
I like that. You're right. It's correct.
No life. You.
Yeah.
But for Monte.
Yeah.
No life. You had.
No. It's what I feel when I look in the mirror.
No, you had a big life. No. I mean, who had no life in the Monte's character in the vessel, not Robert. No. As opposed to him, I had no life. Yeah. No.
While we're talking about casting, there's so many great performances in this movie by Juliette Binoche and Andre Benjamin in particular. You talk about I know you choose your actors very carefully, just casting them and working with them. And I know you'd worked with Juliette, of course, on Let the Sun Shine In already, so...
Juliette was a sort of incident. We did cast. I had met here in LA too, Patricia Arquette, and I thought I would like her to be the doctor, and she accepted. But because of the delay, she could not hold in time with us. And Juliette, I was in Cannes with Juliette for the other film, and she said, she told me, because I was moody, and I said, if it's like that, I'm not going to shoot. And I know it was totally unfair because you had been waiting, but I was in a bad mood, and she said, come on, don't make such a fuss about it. I will do it. I'm ready to do it. And it was very, very nice.
It's no way. I remember a different story. No, I remember in Cannes. This is one of the things I really got excited about shooting the movie. When we were in Cannes and Patricia, we just found out Patricia's dates couldn't work, and no, it was a little bit afterwards, and I was thinking, and we kind of tried to find a replacement, and then nothing was working. And Claire was just sitting in my room. And I was like, "Have you found anyone yet?" And she's like, "Well, maybe we will, maybe we won't. But if not, we'll just do it with you and the baby."
I remember.
Yeah,
I
and
remember.
I was like, "Really?"
I
She
was
like, "Yeah."
thrilled. I was thrilled. And you know what? This is true.
Yeah.
I had forgotten.
I would be
they-
so down to do that. As
that
well.
there were no, but the thing was that I immediately called all the producers, saying, "This is it, this is it, this is it,"
Cut
and they
everyone.
freaked out, because they thought, "What is this new thing? Now she's going to make it." They were terrified. No, me, I would have loved,
That'd be great.
and Jessie.
Yeah, of course.
Jessie is the young actress who is Willow grown up.
She's wonderful, and the baby is amazing too. Really,
Yeah.
yeah.
He did the
She's
casting.
amazing. Oh,
It's,
yeah.
No, it's his choice, and no, it's true. It's true. We were. You mentioned you do casting very carefully, and for me it's weird because casting carefully, it's as if I was searching, with care. No, I think casting, it's a strange thing. Is you meet someone and it's it. That's it. You meet someone and it will never work. It's not right for the film. There is nothing more important than that. Carefully, I think is on the spot, just like that, like I did with Mia Gott. I met her like 2 minutes and I said, André, I knew him. And I wanted, but I mean, casting is not a question of, when you do a cake, you have this amount of sugar, this amount of flour, no, it's something, it goes or not.
Well, and throughout your films, you've worked with so many of the same actors again and
And
again.
I think it's the same for actors.
Yeah.
They also, we feel, it's carefully is a strange word in a way, because we are not careful. We are daring sometimes, I think, no? Yeah. No, you look at me with... Oh.
That was an accident.
Oh, what? Yeah.
No.
Well, and speaking of daring, I guess I should just come right out and ask about the...
I don't mean it's daring to... That's why he was looking at me.
Sure.
Daring to choose Robert. But it's carefully means we take no risk, and it's the opposite. It's so good to that's it, Yeah.
And the fact that you've worked with so many of the same actors again and again, it's sometimes you find an actor and you love, and is it just they're the one, and you want to keep working with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep Robert for 20 years.
20 years.
No, don't be afraid. No, the thing is with the actor in France I work with, is because I am... Maybe I'm lazy, but once you like someone, why try to like some other person, No, it's so better to do one more run and then maybe another one. I think with Alex Descas I work 7 or 8 times, And Isabelle, we still have projects going on, but Isabelle Huppert, since White Material. But she's working so much, it's hard to find a little space. No, it's great to not to think each film. I don't think each film need No, it's It's the same. It has to be something of the same, I guess. Not the same film, but same feelings.
And Robert, what is it? I know it's the effect of Claire's films is so remarkable, unique. But what is her method like? What is the process like to the degree that it can even be expressed?
Method.
Not method in the sense of method act, but just the and especially something like this where the movie is about an experiment. It's about this this enclosed experiment, and what was that like?
I think I'm just going to steal your answer from yesterday. Well, if I can remember it properly, but I think she definitely. I think one of the things which I think are the most important about a director, and which really work for a group of actors anyway, is just being able to really make everyone. It sounds pretty basic, but it's really difficult to do. But being able to make everyone just feel that they're very much part of the same journey, and it's an interpersonal skill just as well as there's a director, the skill of the director, but it's actually like you have there's just something about your personality that's very pervasive into the room, and I think there's the tone of the movie. That's your personality on set. Like you could feel it was. It's not like I was surprised when I saw the movie afterwards. It felt like that in person, and I don't know what that is. It's just it's a unique ability. But there's no other filmmaker who makes movies like Claire, and that's kind of you've got an aura.
I have to say, it's nothing I do consciously. I am like that in a way, very unable to be a conceptual person, It has to be what I feel, and what I feel not alone, with what I feel with the DP, with the musician, of course with the actors, and like the set, when we start the film, the set was not completely finished, and every morning I was like having a phase, screaming, like it was not, everything should be familiar, really, and after 4 days, thanks to our baby, the set became the place we used to. I start working in one of the room. You were laying in the bed with the baby. I mean, it became a place where also the DP was programming all his lights. So it became a place with. It's not like a location, but it's not far from a real place. Thanks to the baby, I think. She creates something immediately because everything was made for her not to cry, for her to be able to sleep without falling. We tried to build a cradle for 4 days, and it was impossible because it was too ugly or too dangerous. But all these things are in the film in a way, I'm sure.
And I wanted to ask about the set and the design of the ship, which is so wonderful, and just the way it looks like a prison from the out, and it also looks like a box, and just how it is so not the very kind of sterile, slick kind of environment that we would expect necessarily from this genre or whatnot. So yeah, we're just about that, the realism of the environment. Yeah.
Robert explained very well what he felt when you visit the European Space Center. Let him speak. No, because you do it very well.
God, don't set me up like that. Jesus, I have no idea. No, I mean, there's this. I like the kind of. If you go, I think when you watch a sci-fi movie, the spaceships always seem. There's some. There seems to be incredibly advanced technology, and it kind of goes into the aesthetic as well. But even when you see the International Space Station, it's so rudimentary, it's so functional that it just looks like a fishing trawler or something inside. I mean, even the kind of what do you even call it? The dials and stuff.
Yeah, and the way it's all covered with materials.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
They sleep in sleeping bags. It's nothing particularly... considering that is the highest level of technology, it looks like a pickup truck.
But in a way, they explained to us, the Scottish cosmonaut, remember Tim, his name? He explained to us that also it was better because they knew they could repair it. They could repair everything. Like this commandant who was repairing the toilet every day. It is better and more secure to be to have a technique that they can still transform, ameliorate. I don't know. I think it's certainly real that they don't need too much of the technology. Technology is very advanced in a way, but it has to be touchable, simple, like in a kitchen, if you, I don't know. I love to be able to visit this place, yeah. It was, I always remember near the sleeping bag, there is this little thing to put the toothbrush, I mean, little details like that are great.
Wanted to ask, if I may, about the fuck box. What was I guess just ask, that scene is so mesmerizing, and just what was it like shooting that when with Juliette and just conceptualizing that scene in that location or that installation?
I don't know. There was things like that were in the script important, like the garden, like the shape, the corridor, the ladder, the locker rooms, things like that. I had in mind. It was very important, and I thought I needed the idea that they could, because they were so close together, living together, there should be a place where they could either dream or masturbate, but alone, with a closed door, not to be watched by all the other. And that's how it starts, that box. And I think Juliette, she too, Juliette, she really fell for it. She was, that day, because we were only three, Yorick and me, the sound was exterior, and we had the playback of the music. Juliette never wanted to stop, she was like, she was like so strong. I was amazed, No, she is so beautiful in that scene. But she's like a giant in the mythology, She's almost no more human apart from the scar.
I think we have time for a few questions. Yeah, just one, two questions. All right, sure, right here in the front. Sorry. Oh, sure.
I wanted to thank you for your chocolate because it's resonated with a lot of us for so many years. My question is how your conversation with Oliver went, and a collaboration with an artist this time, or not another director, and how that changed the film.
You mean an artist like Olafur? It was an idea of this Oliver Danger, the English producer who asked me if I wanted to do. One day we were speaking about the light and the space, and he mentioned we should go and visit Olafur in Denmark. And then Olafur was very interested. Is very interested in the black hole at that time, and he was also interested to meet Aurélien Barraud, the astrophysician I was working with. So we end up all in Berlin in his studio, and I realized that the shape of the black hole Olafur wanted to propose us was maybe too elaborate for me, and I don't know how I could have used those beautiful shapes. And I knew the famous yellow light, and I told him, this light, this is it for me, this is nothing else. Because I've read that in the end, when you reach the end, the singularity and the black hole, there is nothing but everything ends, you know? Not death, but a sort of eternity moment, you know? So I thought it was the best way to do it without a lot of special effect, with you in it, not in against green thing, you know? In that yellow light, actually. You were in that yellow light. And this yellow light I like because it's a light that contains sodium and chrome, and it discolors the skin, so it transforms all the colors. And I thought it's great to go into a place where the colors are changed. It's magic in a way, you know? And that's how we did it.
Time for one more. Someone in the back or so. I'll go to you. Yeah. Sorry.
This question's for Rob. Was there a particular film that you saw by Claire that influenced you and made you want to work with her? And if so, like, was there something about the way you thought she might work with you that influenced that?
I mean, the first one I saw was White Material, and I'm always attracted to directors which, if they make a movie which seems very self-contained, it doesn't feel like I don't know. I felt like that world is very, very fully realized, and it felt like you could turn the camera in any direction and it would still exist. It didn't just feel like it was just exist. The only thing that existed were the scenes. I think that makes performances a lot better as well. But then I think probably Beau Travail was, I hadn't done really anything which was very kind of sensual, and I wanted to do, like, I love that movie so much, and even on the page when I saw High Life, it didn't really seem like, I mean, I guess there are a lot of things about bodies and stuff, but quite, it was pretty open to interpretation. But I mean, I wanted to do something which was, if a director's looking for you to be able to use your body, then you'll probably be able to get something of that into it. So probably Beau Travail.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for, but congratulations on the film, and thank you both for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.